Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how the Hellcat engine is getting discontinued. So first off, we're going to get into the information on that, and then we're going to get into my recommendations of which Hellcats you should purchase before this engine is discontinued. That's kind of like a future investment. And so with all that being said, let's just get right into the video. So in terms of the information that we know so far, 2023 is the last year that you'll be able to get a Hellcat. It sounds like because Stellantis says that they're discontinuing the Hellcat powertrain in 2023. So I don't know if 2022 as a model year will be the last year you'll be able to get a Hellcat, or if it'll be 2023 as a model year. But anyways, 2023 is when the engine will be discontinued. And something else that people really aren't talking about is the fact that the 6.4 Hemi is also getting discontinued. That's not as, eye-catching as the Hellcat, I suppose. But that powertrain is also getting discontinued. So we're losing, the two big bad boy V8s, which makes sense because earlier this year, SRT itself was disbanded. And so it's kind of like all going in a line. And then on top of that, right, we got the news that I made videos on earlier, how we're going to get a new EV from Ram, and we're going to get a new EV from Dodge for the muscle car, and then obviously Ram with the truck and all that kind of stuff. And so it's all kind of like lining up for them to discontinue the Hellcat engine, because they're going to discontinue those powertrains, and then they're going to release, EV versions of their vehicles that would use those powertrains. And so yeah, that's the news, super quick. And so now we're going to get into what I think about this overall. So first off, it's sad, but it also is just a general trend, right? Manufacturers over the last couple of decades have been going to smaller displacement engines, turbochargers, superchargers, hybrid systems, fully electric vehicles. It's just kind of the general trend we're going towards. So I kind of expected this to happen. Obviously, it's sad because the Hellcat engine is such a cool engine. And so, yeah, I guess I'm sad about it. But as a future investment, I think this is something that you as a car enthusiast can take advantage of. Now, I guess we're going to start at the bottom of my list in terms of cars that I would purchase before the Hellcat engine gets discontinued, and then we'll get to the vehicles that I think are the best possible investments. So in terms of the bottom of the list, used Hellcats right now are probably the worst to purchase if you want to, I guess, make the most money in the long run in terms of an investment standpoint. And that's because COVID has made car values go crazy, and so used cars in general are just way overpriced right now. And so for you to get the best possible bang for your buck from an investment standpoint with a used Hellcat, you should have purchased one pre-COVID, right? Nobody knew that this situation was going to happen with all the supply issues and everything, but it did happen. And so if you were able to get a used Hellcat pre-COVID, you probably got a really good deal on it. Your car's probably right now worth more than what you paid for it. And trust me, when this Hellcat engine gets discontinued, your car is going to be worth even more than the overinflated market values right now, because people are really just going to want to have that experience that you get with a Hellcat that's just so unique. So yeah, for used Hellcats, it was pre-COVID. Now, I guess post-COVID, there's obviously a lot of cool vehicles that were released, right? The Ram TRX, for example, was released. And then we have the new Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392, which again, I understand it's not a Hellcat, but again, it still has, the 6.4 Hemi, which is also going to get discontinued. And so, those are the two main ones that have been the hottest, right, that have been released post-COVID. We obviously had some cool cars released pre-COVID, right, like the Dodge Demon, for example, and the wide-body red eyes and all that kind of stuff, in which you can still get brand new. Well, not the Demon, but the wide-body red eyes you can still get brand new. So I will put those as like the next recommendation. Any new Hellcat is still worth purchasing, whether it's a wide-body or a standard Hellcat. So if you can get a brand new one for MSRP or a little bit under MSRP, definitely worth it, definitely a good deal. Go for it. Moving on from that back to the TRX and to the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. Same thing with those. If you can get them at MSRP, if you can get them brand new right now, get them. Those vehicles obviously are already going over sticker used, and the market on them has been pretty crazy. But after these engines get discontinued, the values are going to balloon even more, especially for these two vehicles, more than any other vehicle out there. I understand that a lot of you are going to be enthusiasts for the Challengers, Chargers, and then obviously the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, but those are all on-road vehicles. And on-road vehicles are cool, but they're not as cool as off-road vehicles, especially from an investment standpoint, because off-road vehicles have so much more utility. And that's why they hold their values so much better compared to on-road vehicles. And so I really do think that the Rubicon 392 and the Ram TRX are going to be the best Hellcats to purchase, because I think down the road, those are going to be worth the most amount of money because they have the most utility and they're just the craziest, frankly. Like, yeah, it is pretty crazy to have a 700 horsepower muscle car, but it's even crazier to have a 700 horsepower muscle truck that you can jump and off-road and all this other crazy stuff. And then with the Rubicon 392, I understand a lot of places have been doing these 6.4 Hemi conversions for quite some time with the Jeeps, but this is from the factory with a full warranty and all that kind of stuff, and so it definitely has its benefits. And so again, it's this crazy rock crawling vehicle that has a big naturally aspirated V8. It's super cool. And so yeah, those are going to be my number one picks, is Ram TRX and Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 392. The values on those are already crazy, and they are going to get even crazier after those engines are discontinued. So if you can get a hold of one of those, I would recommend it. But any Hellcat, if you can get it at MSRP right now, is going to be worth more than what you paid for it, I'm sure, after this engine's discontinued. And I guess I will put a disclaimer that this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion on what's going to happen. And so yeah, hopefully that helped you guys out. And yeah, pretty crazy. I don't want this video to be too long, and so yeah, that'll sum things up. I'll see all of you in the next video.